Let's talk about Severance, episode 9 of season 2. So we'll give our scores, and then we'll give a spoiler warning before we go into any spoilers for the episode. Alex, do you want to go ahead and start us off on this with Severance season 2, episode 9?
Sure. I gave this episode an 8. I was bouncing between a 7 and an 8, but I thought it was a good return to form for me from last week. I thought it was far more interesting. There's, a very set up episode for the finale, but in an interesting way. As always, acting good. Yeah, it was really just kind of set into pieces for the finale, but I thought it did it pretty well. So I would give it an 8 out of 10.
Yeah, I was between a 7 and an 8 as well for my score. I ended up going with a 7 with the caveat that this could be like elevated after the finale because like you said, it is a very setup heavy episode with kind of like all the chess pieces being put into place. So for now, I went with a 7. I thought it was a decent episode, a little bit slower. And there was one thing that I still don't know how I feel about, so we'll talk about that in spoilers.
Interesting.
But, still a good episode. I'm very excited for the finale next week, so it did that job just fine. So yeah, 7.
Hopefully finale is good.
Yeah.
Finales could tend to ruin a season.
Yeah, because this has been a good season. I do not want it ruined.
Yes. You liked it more than the last episode, though? I don't remember what you gave last episode.
I do. I think I gave them both 7s, but I think I liked this one more. Still a 7, but like if I were going back and rewatching, I'd probably want to rewatch this one more than the last one.
All right, cool. Yeah, let's talk about spoilers.
Yeah, let's get into it. Spoilers. So spoiler alert for Severance season 2, episode 9.
I'm curious what the one thing was that you don't know how you feel about.
I don't know. Maybe it's just because I like the lighthearted Dylan, but what he's been going through recently and how he's been reacting to it is just, it kind of bums me out. I don't know. His proposal in this episode felt really weird, but I guess it makes sense for an innie who doesn't have that much life experience because, I mean, they're kind of like children in how much experience they have. And then he was really like bitter about it. And like when he was talking to Helly, when he was like, Mark didn't know, it kind of seemed like just he was like taking a shot at her just because he was hurt.
Yeah, exactly. I felt that too.
And then he quit and I'm like, oh, I want Dylan there still though. Maybe it's just because I like Dylan so much. I don't know. What did you feel about that? The whole Audi wife thing and him proposing and that stuff.
I'm kind of on the same boat. I think it's more so just I really like the innie Dylan. Yeah. So I agree with you. But I could see this being kind of an interesting, it'll be interesting if they go this route, kind of exploring more of that Audi Dylan, to see if maybe he can change or I don't know. I agree with you. I do like Dylan down there, especially with all the mystery and stuff going on.
Yeah.
If we were to see Dylan going down like to the floor with Mark's wife, that would have been, I feel like that would have been like fun.
Yeah.
Because he'd be making comments like us, like, what is this sci-fi creepy?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He says what we're thinking kind of thing.
Yeah. So I agree. So how do you feel about the Herb storyline with...
Yeah, Irv and Bert.
Irv, yeah. So how do you feel about that? So what, maybe I was tired or I was confused, but so Bert, why did Bert have him go on a train and go away?
I think it's because Lumon knows that he was trying to find something out about them because he was doing some stuff with like sleep deprivation and trying to find that elevator and he was looking around Bert. And so I think Bert knows that Lumon would try and get rid of him maybe. That's what it seemed like to me because he's a loose end or an issue. And so Bert's trying to keep him safe by having him just leave. And because he even says like, I can't know where you get off. I can't know where you're going. So I have a feeling like he's kind of like their enforcer almost or something.
I mean, I guess Irv questioned him and he just said we can't. But
because Irv wanted him to go with him or something, yeah.
I don't know. I'm curious where that goes. Because to me, that was the slowest part of the episode. Like, I cared, but like I was a little, I guess, confused.
Yeah, it did feel really like ominous. Again, like Bert's facial expressions just look so... when he's his quote unquote Audi, if he even is severed or whatever, he just looks so menacing. And he even talked about like taking people on drives and it made it seem like he was their hitman almost or something.
Yeah. So I'm curious where that goes because there's no way Irv is just leaving.
Gone. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like, there's no way he's gone. That he's going to come back and do something, but I don't know what.
Yeah.
For me, my favorite scenes in this episode were Milchick scenes. Oh man, there were some good ones in this episode.
Yes.
One that I think might be a little underrated is his talk with Mark, because there's obviously another one that just like blows everything else out of the water. But I think his talk with Mark was really good. Like when Mark was saying, yeah, I just needed a day. It's just work, right, Mr. Milchick? It's just work. And it felt like that got into Milchick's brain and like, what, just work? And it kind of just sat there. And that's kind of what spurred him later on to have his confrontation with Drummond.
Yes, which
Oh,
I love that conversation
such
too.
a good conversation. His line, devour feculence. That was so good.
I'm still trying to figure out where he lies, because he clearly doesn't like Lumon.
I feel like he's becoming disillusioned with Lumon very quickly.
Small words, Caleb.
Let me put it monosyllabically. He does not like Lumon. Oh, that's not monosyllabically. I thought that the monosyllabically and then every other word is just one syllable. Oh, it was so good. I loved seeing him stand up for himself like that.
His scenes were great. I know, I felt proud. The way I feel about him is I feel like he doesn't necessarily hate the innies.
Right.
He still might maybe like side with Lumon and kind of enforce things, but I don't know. I don't feel like he hates them or wants harm to them. Personally, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it feels to me like he's been raised in this like cult of Lumon, and he's finally starting to see some cracks that might get him out of the cult, which is good.
Where's that kid going?
Yeah,
again?
I don't know. Miss Huang is gone. He sent her off to somewhere. I don't even remember where, but I don't know what they're doing with her.
I think he said something.
Yeah.
He said like bus will take you. I don't know, something about packing your house from your parents or something.
Yeah, because she went right from Lumon and didn't go home, so they packed it up. I'm going to see if I can... Svalbard, a Norwegian chain of islands between Norway and the North Pole.
Oh, so that's where he was sending her.
Yeah, to the Gunnel Egan Empathy Center.
Was he doing that out of spite?
Yeah, it kind of seemed like it.
It seemed like he didn't like her.
Yeah, because I mean, it seemed
reason.
like his report was based on a lot of her feedback, is what it seemed like to me. Like they uses big words and paper clipped it wrong.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm curious. Like, do we see her again this season, or is she being set up for something later? Because
or is she just done?
Or is she just done? Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that was just to show how they like indoctrinate kids and, you know, set them up early and then ship them off without even saying goodbye to their family. And could be.
Yeah. And then we had Mark.
Yes.
And I thought his stuff was pretty interesting too.
It was.
Just like you said, kind of a setup. Like not much happened. It was more so like we can't trust her. Let's get to this cabin or this whatever it was, secured location where you can bring the innies out. And then that was pretty much like it for his story, right? It was more so just getting him to point A to point B.
I did like how he did not trust her, because I was a little worried after he talked with her on the phone, like, oh, is he going to just trust her? But
they had it realistic, yeah.
Yeah. And then at the end, like after his innie woke up and they go upstairs, she's just like standing in the most menacing like room ever.
With a fire behind her.
Yeah. Definitely don't trust her now.
Look like something like in the freaking Ministry of Magic or something.
So it seems like he's not fully reintegrated, or they're checking with his innie to see how reintegrated he is or something. So that'll be interesting in the finale.
How does that work? Is your Audi the only one that remembers both to start, or is your innie going through the same process?
Yeah, it seems like they both are, because of that like transition from the innie to the Audi.
Yeah.
But was that just his Audi remembering his innie's stuff? I don't know.
That's very interesting, because then at what point does which become which? Do you just combine and like, is it the innie that remembers the Audi stuff, but you still have the personality of the innie? Or is it the Audi what is the dominant personality?
That's a good question. If I were to guess, it would probably be the Audi with the memories of the innie, but
I would guess that too.
But yeah. I don't know. Or does it just meld?
Mix?
Yeah.
And you become one, which would be weird.
You basically get all those experiences. Yeah, that's interesting.
I agree with you. I feel like it would be the Audi, because then the Audi kind of knows everything already, except for the inside stuff, as far as like the world and stuff.
They've had more experience.
Well, that'll be interesting though too.
I'm very excited for the finale. I heard it's 76 minutes and it's going to be, I'm just so excited.
Yeah, I looked at the time too.
Yeah.
And I'm curious how that will be if Mark this season kind of the innie and Audi combines, how he'll feel, knowing his wife is still alive, and then his feelings for Helly.
Yeah.
And knowing he slept with her, well, I guess twice for that matter.
Yeah, true. Oh, and we didn't really talk about Helly yet, because the episode started out with Helly and her, like, swimming and then eating an egg in the most, like, I don't know. Does she have an eating disorder or what? Like, those were the smallest bites ever.
I know. She was, like, cutting it all weird. Yeah, that was... It's just weird.
And then her dad is so weird. Like, I wish you'd eat them raw. I guess because that's how the Egans have always done it or something.
And then even when he showed up down in the severed floor, it's kind of creepy.
It was creepy. And that... Is she, yeah, because it's Helly, so she hasn't ever really interacted with him. So but she's definitely more like ready to rebel. That'll be an interesting confrontation.
Oh, mm-hmm. It was weird seeing someone else down there that's not those four or
Milchek or Cobell from the first season. Yeah, that was really weird.
Yeah. I was like, and no goat people. I still want to know what the goat people are.
No goat people this episode.
While I think this episode was a great setup, I'm still unsure of where it's leading into the finale. Like, what's the end game for this season?
Yeah, I don't know. Definitely something with Mark's reintegration.
Like, is he going to end up back at Lumon this episode, or we have to just wait till next season? Or is it going to be Helly?
Helly's definitely going to go find the elevator.
So I think what might happen is he'll do the full reintegration thing with what's-her-face.
Yep, Cobell.
And then maybe he'll go back into work, right? Because he promised Milchek he'll go in the next day. And then Helly's remembering the way to go down that elevator. So when he gets there, they'll be able to go down there.
Yeah, she might have found it at that point.
And then after that, I have no clue what would happen.
Yeah.
I feel like that's where it's leading to, right? As far as, I don't know where it's leading to with Dylan or Irv.
Yeah, I agree.
And once they get down, let's say he finds his wife, I'm interested to see how they do it. Because last season in the finale, right, it was such a clear cut, like, she's alive, like, we kind of knew.
Yeah.
I don't know, I feel like, and they even had the plan to, remember in the last season.
The overtime contingency, yeah.
Yeah, but this episode, I don't know where it's, I mean, we kind of do, but like, it's a little more, there's so much more pieces that, like, I'm very curious how they, and it'll end on a cliffhanger. We might get an answer or two with 8 billion more questions will be
yes.
come up. So, like, I'm super excited too, just in the sense of, like, it's the final episode.
Yeah, I have a feeling it's going to be trippy with Mark, especially.
I think so too. Like, I hope they find that elevator and go down there this episode. I really hope they do.
Yeah, at least one of them, like Helly figuring out that Gemma's trapped down there or something, and then is she going to be trapped down there or not allowed back?
Or are they going to force Mark to finish the Cold Harbor project? He's at like 96% or whatever.
Yeah, if he goes back, they probably will. It seems like they need that done. But then Cobell said if Cold Harbor's done, then Gemma's already dead, so... Yeah,
and I still, what the heck is this Cold Harbor project?
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, I was just laying there thinking last night, I couldn't sleep. This is what I do when I can't sleep. I think about stupid stuff.
Yeah.
Is Mark, what his job, right, where he puts the numbers in the thing and it goes down there, I wonder if that's like somehow fueling like his wife's severed mind kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like maybe they're connected somehow.
I think it has to do with, my guess is something to do with her negative emotions. Like he's filtering the negative emotions and then they're maybe using that to come up with the rooms or something. And then Cold Harbor is going to be like the worst room.
Yeah, like you said, didn't you read somewhere like a theory that possibly could be like...
about her miscarriage?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's definitely, obviously it's a room. They showed that that's the one room she hasn't been in. I just don't know why Mark has to come. Yeah, it might. You're right. It might be filtering like some sort of emotion or something, and then because they have a big hole in the back of their head, so maybe they like freaking just shove something back there and like almost like a computer or something. They're all AI, man. They're all robots.
They're basically being used like it to filter out data.
Yeah, that's true. Interesting. That still doesn't explain the goat people.
No, I still don't get the goat people.
Or just Lumon in general. So weird.
Yeah, Lumon is very weird.
But yeah, overall, like more of the same in a great way, not in a bad way.
Yep, very good setup. It has me very excited. So it did its job.
For me, it was a return to form because I'm telling you, man, like I just was not a fan of last week's episode.
It definitely was a different episode last week, that's for sure.
And maybe it is the placement. Maybe if I would have gotten that like episode 2 or 3, like right after Mark sees her drive away or something, I would have maybe felt a little different. But I don't know. Or maybe not. You know what it reminded me of?
What's that?
Do you remember season 2 of Stranger Things, that weird episode where Eleven goes off randomly and finds all these other super powered people or whatever.
Yeah, it did kind of feel
remind
like
me of that. Just some off. Granted, this one at least gave us some reveals and stuff.
Yeah, but I could see the similarities. It just like out of nowhere, completely different kind of episode.
So random. Like
Yeah.
2 seasons in, and it's like the one episode that's just, I don't know.
All right, well,
Anyways,
we'll talk
it was
about
great.
the finale next week.